share with us, just kind of like how we did on the walk. She's just going to share like what God's been like laying on her heart, and just some scripture for you guys, because as much as videos of stuff that we would have talked to you guys about if we were together. So, take it away, Alice. What do you got for us?
Okay, well, so this week I would say there's like kind of two things, but one of the things I want to focus on this week, like today, is how God calls us to be Christ-like. And so I think a lot of times in our walk with Christ, like when we first start off, I talked about faith last time. So we have this really great faith and we get really excited about Christ and we come in and we're really excited. But like after a while, like it starts to get kind of hard. It's like, okay, well, like we're still like, we have faith, but like, what's like next? And it's like, well, God calls us to be Christ-like and to like walk like Him and to be like Him. And so anyways, I found that a lot of like verses in this like Bible will tell you, to be Christ-like. So one of the first ones I want to read is in 1 Corinthians 11:1 as a reference. And it's simple. It just says, be imitators of me, just as I also am of Christ. So it's just very simple. Like that to me just says like literally like just imitate Christ, do what Christ does. But then I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? Because be imitators of Christ. Okay, like what does Christ do? Who is He? Like how does that look? And I know like our relationship with Christ, eventually we find out what that looks like a lot of times. Anyway, so I feel like when He calls us like that, we have questions. We start to say, what does that mean? What does it look like? And I do believe that we can look at a lot of areas in the Bible, especially New Testament, and see how Jesus was and see how He acted. Like maybe how He treated people in the New Testament, how He treated His apostles or disciples, the people that followed Him, and then even how He trained them to treat other people, like He was nice, He was kind, He was loving. And so then the next verses, so I'm using my phone right now because it's easier for me to jump from one to the other.
Which if you have a phone, you can download the Bible app, and there's lots of really cool things on there that they have reading plans and stuff like that, and they even have translations that like you can hit play and it'll read you the Bible.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I don't know how to say this name, which is what I do all the time, I'm just like, I have no earthly idea how to pronounce that whatsoever. That's a bunch of letters. I hit play,
really
and
bad.
it like says it for me. I'm like, yep, that's that word.
One of the other verses, so you ask like, well, what does that mean? So there's also, this one kind of references Old Testament. It says, it's John 15:10, and it says, if you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in His love. So like that's also to me like it's giving you ways to like follow Him, ways to be like Him. So commandments, which that's in the Old Testament. I didn't bring that reference. What is the chapter that's
It's in Exodus.
Yeah, Exodus. Oh, okay.
No, Exodus.
Let's
Still look at
see. It's coming to me.
Here's us looking it up. 10 Commandments, Exodus 20.
Yeah.
So I actually know them in order, and you guys actually had to write them for a scripture challenge.
So you should know them too.
Yeah.
So I was like, you can go for it if you want to do it really quick.
You can make that a challenge on the Goose Chase app.
That would be
Record
good.
yourself saying the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
Or even do art. There are people who do picture art that like represent, like they do the number, and in the number is like what that commandment is.
Yeah, that'd be
which
a
is
good
really
challenge. So, but I think those are, so like from the Old Testament, those are ways that like God's given us to even follow and to be like Him, to just follow things that are Christ-like. That's 10, just basic kind of like laws. Now, we don't always have to be so like law oriented on everything, but it is important. So then the next one, this is Galatians 5:22, and it says, so I think this one gives us a lot of just knowing like kind of maybe like the personality and the emotional side of like being a Christian. So because that's like so much law, like when you go into the Old Testament, it's like literally giving you these like things like line by line, like do not murder, do not covet, like all those things. But this one says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness. So I love that. It literally is like telling you these are the things that the Spirit has that He wants us to do, like, and to act like and to be like. So if I'm imitating Christ and I'm trying to be like Him and walk in this like relationship with Him, you know, my purpose of that relationship is to be more like Him. Then these are some of the things that I want to start to follow, and I want my personality to start to represent. And I don't do good at all of these things, but because there's going to be moments.
A work in progress.
Yeah. Sometimes in like the walk, like we're walking with Him. There's that relationship that's growing. We have faith. Now we just need to like continue to grow that faith. And so it's like, what does that look like? What does it mean to grow our faith, to be imitators of Christ? You know, and like what are the characteristics of Him? And I think that gives us a good like foundation, starting point. And then, you know, you dive in deeper after that, of course.
Yeah.
But those are like some really basic ones, and I think it's a really good starting point. I think I have one more scripture here.
To hear the lovely birds outside. The not so lovely birds.
Yeah, so this is one. Okay, so I think of when God sent His Son, Jesus here, and it's like, you know, we're all having to believe. So there's your faith too, you know, and then people are seeing Jesus. That kind of helps give us like this visual, like, oh wow, like He exists kind of thing. And so, but they still had to choose to like go with Him. And so in Luke 9:23 it says, and He was saying to them all, if anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. So I think that's also another thing, like, talk about, I mean, it might be not so much Christ-like, but just part of your relationship and your walk with, like, Christ and Jesus and the Holy Spirit is to give up, like, your life and the things in it and to be willing to just follow Him full out. So, and it talks about that in a lot of different verses, like giving up things and following Christ, which it's like, okay, does that mean, like, I have to give up all the nice things I have and all the amenities and, like, we were just talking about, you know, a friend earlier, you know, it's like you have to give up your hobbies and the things you love, and it's like, He's not asking you to, like, literally just be miserable all the time, like, but, you know, just to, like, your heart's desire to be for Him, like, number one. It's not that you can't still read books or watch TV or, you know, I mean, unless He convicts you otherwise.
There might be things that, like, you're watching and reading that He doesn't want you to.
Yeah. So Christ-like things, like, you want to read things that are Christ-like. You want to watch things that are Christ-like, you know, that have love and joy and peace and kindness. That's not, you know, teaching your heart ugly things. So that's really important.
Yeah.
And, like, Christ-like character. But that's been something, because I think a lot of times we hit that point where we're like, well, what's the next thing, you know, or like, how's our walk supposed to look like with Christ? Like, what does that mean? What's Christ-like? What's imitators of Christ? You know, what's the, like, anyways. So those are the things that I see that the Bible tells us that are kind of, like, direct. You know, we have the laws from the Old Testament that tells us how to kind of live a good life. But then when we get into the New Testament, it gives us, you know, the fruits of the Spirit and kind of has that emotional side, like what our personality should look like. You know, and then those things can guide us into all the things in our life. You know, if something's not full of love and peace and joy and kindness, it may not be a good place for us to be at, you know, so, of course. And praying is always, you know, of course, number one, being able to do that, so.
Yeah.
That's all I got right now.
Well, thank you for sharing. We love you all.
Yeah.
And, again, message us, leave us comments, ask us questions. I miss you. Alice misses you. We all miss you. In fact, I've thankfully been able to keep in contact with all of our volunteers. And so, and they all miss hanging out with you. So, leave us a comment. Let us know how you're doing. Leave us a question. Leave us a challenge.
Challenge would be great.
Yeah, leave us a challenge. If you want to see a certain volunteer do a challenge, put their name with the challenge, and I will try my hardest to get them to do it. I'm pretty good at talking people into doing things. So, yeah. There's that. So, but yeah, again, we love you guys. Contact us on Facebook, message us, contact us on Instagram. You can direct message us there. We have an email. We have a mailbox. We have so many things that you can contact us on, and we miss you. So if you're needing help with anything too, let us know. In our last video, we talked about being able to help you guys with homework or whatever. We know some of you guys need help with that. So
Shout out.
let us know. We want to help. And they can be private messages so that
Not everybody
not
knows.
everyone knows that you need help with it.
Yeah.
So, but again, we love you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.